What's up guys, Poledoo here, bringing you another ORAS Wi-Fi battle. Today we delve into the NU tier. I've been brewing up this team for a while now and I'm super excited to get a battle with it to show you guys. Our opponent is SuperBowser over at Turtle Nation, who is one of the awesome people to take part in the Fire Red randomized tag lock, as well as the man who tagged me in the Pokemon Tag little YouTube game that has been drifting around YouTube for a little while now. So as with all of our past opponents, Super Bowser's links will be in the description below, so go show him some love for me. Now, onto my team. You can see we have Ringo, the Kecleon. We got Pabu, the Furret. Side note about Pabu is the sole reason I wanted to make an NU team is because of Pabu. After using him in Fire Red Omega Avatar mode, I just really got attached to Pabu and Furret, and now Pabu can be used competitively in our competitive battles, so yay. Onwards from that, we got Blair the Mismagius, we got Juicy the Zebstrika, or Zebstrika, however you want to pronounce it. We got Reginald the Regirock, and finally we got Oswald the Octillery. On Super Bowser's side, he's bringing a Weezing, a Lantern, a Swellow, a Zangoose, a Typhlosion, and a Cacturn. So, with all that being said, let's get battling, shall we? So, starts, we actually tried to have this battle once, and we got disconnected in the middle of it, so I already know a little bit of his team, and then he already knows a little bit of mine, so otherwise I would not have known what he was going to start with. He starts with the Cacturn, which is what he started with the first time, and I know it is a Focus Sash, Sucker Punch, Swords Dance, Cacturn. So I lead with a Rango to get the Fake Out off to break his Sash. He comes in with the Weezing, eats up that hit, and wants to go for that burn. I bring in Pabu, Frisk its Black Sludge, which I already knew was there, but I know Pabu could have been fine to take the burn, because Pabu, as much as I love Pabu, he's kind of like he's a utility kind of Pokemon in this team. He comes in, searches your item, knocks you off. I have to Protect on there just to scout if I need extra scouting, and then he U-turns out. That is what Pabu does. And I eat up that Sludge Bomb, take some more damage from that burn and the U-turn, get a little bit of damage. It was like maybe like 5, maybe 10. Not much, but hey, he has no Black Sludge anymore because I knocked it off. So any little bit helps. I go into Reginald, eat up this next Sludge Bomb coming in, and I use that to bait another Will-O-Wisp in, because Reginald does not want to be Will-O-Wisped, and I knew he was going to go for it. So I bring in Oswald, who does not care about the burn. He is a choice specs little octopus dude. So I go for the Hydro Pump. I was thinking he's going to bring in his Lantern, and it probably has the Water Absorb. He does bring in the Lantern. I was going to go for the Energy Ball, predicting it, but I wanted to be safe about it. But luckily for me, I was able to actually get damage off on it, because it's not Water Absorb. That led me to believe that maybe it's Volt Absorbed, so I gotta be worried about my Zebstrika. But this thing also, I was still unsure like what it wanted to do, because it was just doing things I never see Lantern do. Like I keep predicting to be Toxic or Paralyzed. Or he goes for that Thunderbolt as I switched into Rango, my special defensive wall. And I go for the knockoff because I just want its item gone. I don't know what this thing wants to do to me. I don't know if it has the utility moves, but he does not give me that chance. He goes back into Weezing and tries for the burn again. I switch out into Blair as he goes for a Pain Split, which doesn't do as much as I actually thought it would. I was like, oh no, Pain Split, but it didn't do much. But Mismagius is my Weezing killer. The sole reason I have this Mismagius on the team is for other Weezings. And it comes through, he stays in, I get a nice Life Orb Psychic off, and he switches into this Cacturn, who I just take down with a Dazzling Gleam. I got a crit, but it doesn't really matter. He lives on his Focus Sash, and like I was saying from prior knowledge, I know he's gonna Swords Dance Sucker Punch, and being down to his sash, he really has no choice but to go for the Sucker Punch. So I took advantage of that situation, and I went for the Will-O-Wisp, the one move that's not an attack that Blair has, which lands, making his Sucker Punch fail, and that Cacturn is down. So that is 2 down so far. He goes into Nightlight, still afraid of this thing. I don't know what it wants to do. I'm not going to stick around to find out the hard way. I go into Rango to eat up any special attacking hits that this thing wants to throw at me, being a Thunderbolt this time, which Blair would have not appreciated. But he switches out again, and this time I'm like, alright. So he goes into Asuna. And I went for the fake out here. I was like, what? I just need to figure out what this Lantern wants to do. But every time I see a Typhlosion, I know they're Choice Scarfed with Eruption. So I go for the Shadow Sneak to get its HP down a little bit more, just to weaken that Eruption that he does in fact go for. And that puts Rango a little lower than I would have liked. He switches out. I went for another Shadow Sneak just in case he went for another Eruption just to weaken it even more. But nope, he predicts that. He goes into his Swellow, getting his Flame Orb off, and Rango does not want to take a hit from Swellow. So I bring in Reginald to eat up the hit that this Swellow is going to go for, and it does. Swellow hits so hard. That was a crit right there, which at first I was like, holy crap, that thing can one-shot everything else on my team if it can do that, but that was a crit. It probably still could do the work to the rest of my team, but I use this as a safe time to set up some rocks just for accumulating that damage on switches, and I'm not going to stay in for this Lantern. Absolutely not. I go into Pabu to both frisk to see what the hell this thing is using, turns out it's Assault Vest, and to have a safe switch in after I find out that information. Assault Vest, which what was good for me. For some reason I was like, is this thing choiced? Like, what is going on here? Because he keeps hard switching. He's not going for a Volt Switch. So I guess he's not packing the Volt Switch. But knowing that he's Assault Vest, that means I don't have to really worry about being toxic. I don't have to worry about him resting. Don't have to worry about none of that. He switches his Lantern out into this Swellow, and I didn't necessarily predict it, but I did go for the Drain Punch, knowing no matter what he switched into, I would be able to take its life for my own, which happened to be the Swellow, which was perfect because that Swellow was not living. He brings in Shunpo, and we sit here, we trade knockoffs. He gets a crit on his, bring me right back down into yellow, but I knock off his Toxic Orb, so no toxic boosting for him. And I do a pretty penny of damage there. He goes for the quick attack, and Rango, Rango did some good. Rango did work, so it was about time he needed to go, I guess. I bring in Juicy, who is Choice Scarfed, and I wasn't sure if he was gonna stay in or switch into his Lantern. I predict the switch into Lantern correctly, so instead of going for a Volt Switch and healing him like I imagine would have happened, I go for that Hidden Power Grass, and he still has that Assault Vest, so he's just eating it right up, but nothing else really wants to take hits from this thing, so Juicy is going to just sit here, get off the Hidden Power Grass, do as much damage as I can before going out, which, as you see, this second Scald will do in Juicy. But I got enough damage off that I am rather comfortable that anyone I bring in, Blair being our fastest left, can kill it. I go for the Psychic just in case he wanted to save it and switch into his Zangoose instead of the Shadow Ball. Take a little bit more Life Orb damage, not a huge deal. He goes into Asuna, who takes lots of damage from that Stealth Rocks. Goes for the extra Sensory. I wasn't sure what this thing wanted to do. I was thinking about switching, but I thought, you know what, let's just stay in Blair, and if worst comes to worst, he'll hit me, kill me, and I can switch into something that'll deal with what move he was Choice Scarfed into. But I live the extra Sensory. I kill him with the Shadow Ball. And Shunpo comes in, and he had a misclick here, which he should have taken out Blair, but because he misclicked, I just went for a random move, which happened to be Will-O-Wisp and finishing him off. But with the rocks, and yeah, he wasn't living that. But he should have killed with the knockoff, and then I don't know what I would have gone into. I know Reginald would have been able to eat up anything that he wanted to finish him off, and then Oswald might have died from it. Died from the Zangoose hits. I don't know. Zangoose hits really hard. But either way, I had a lot of fun. I'm just so glad I got to show off this this team to you guys. Like I said, it's been brewing for a while. But yeah, SuperBowser over at Turtle Nation. Go show him some love. Go show. There's another guy. I can't remember his name, so I'm sorry. But it's like a co-op channel. There's SuperBowser, and then there's his friend. So go show both of them some love for me. Links, as always, are in the description below. And I will see you all later.